Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name is Cynthia and I'm here to do a layout for us and wish you all well for fall in the Northern Hemisphere. Let's see, I'm just planning to do kind of a general layout here. So, and I'm going to be using another tool. I've been kind of on one creatively. I had these Hazel Sticks that I harvested myself years ago now. So Hazel, if you don't know, Hazel wands are really desirable for, like, if you're somebody that would want to use a wand, like as a Hedge Witch or in a coven or whatever. Hazel rods are useful, like going and cutting a hazel limb and using that kind of wood. It's considered an enchanted wood. It's loved by the fairies. And a while back, several years ago, me and another group, when we were kind of learning about this, we each harvested a hazel stalk out of the ground, and then you can turn those into divining tools. And I've had mine for years and never completed them to begin working with them and using them. So what the idea is that you harvest this hazel rod out of the ground. Usually it's a young shoot or cane, I guess. I don't know the right word, one that's coming out of the ground. Harvest it and then cut it into an odd number, like 13, 9, 13 or 9, I think would be ideal. And then you can ask a question, like a general question, like, will my lover come back to me, for example, and then write answers on all of the different hazel sticks, right? And then you can use them as like a pick one kind of drawing. It's great. It's a very old folk tradition to use hazel sticks in this way, and I learned of it through my folk magic teacher. And it was really cool to sit down last night and actually design these finally. They've just been in my altar forever, not being used, just getting more and more enchanted maybe. So I'm going to incorporate these today. And the question I developed for those so that I felt like I could get the most use out of them on the channel is the question, is what I'm dreaming of going to be, right? So it's anything. Usually when you're sitting down to get some divination work done, or to have a reading done, you have an idea in mind of how you would like things to go. And we all try to be real neutral and like, oh, whatever, my higher power wants for me, right? But we have our ways that we want things to happen, right? And so that's why I figured I would do a layout based kind of on that question, is what I'm dreaming or hoping going to be. But then these layouts are also going to give you some extra information about that in terms of, if not, what else should you know kind of thing. Timeline, stuff like that. So enough about the intro. I'm just going to go ahead and get into it now. What cards do I want to use? I think I'll stick with the Crowley. It's been feeling good to use my deck that I learned on again. It's like an old friend. Is what we're dreaming about going to be? Is what we are dreaming about going to be, Spirit? How can we know? What is what we're dreaming of currently for what we want for ourselves going to be? And if not, what's important for us to know? And if yes, what's important for us to know? Either way. Are our desires coming to pass? All right, so what it's looking like to begin with is you definitely have your eye on something that you are wishing for. The star in this case is a very potent and powerful wish, right? And you're working with a higher power around it. You're not just relying on your own will to get this wish to come to you. You're working with wishing on a star, wishing on the heavens, right? Talking to your higher self, talking to your guides, asking for the things that you wish for. And your wishes are powerful. Your intentions are powerful here because the star card is the very first card out. You may be wishing to start something new and get something off the ground in the material world, but this is where we're going to pull some of these hazel sticks to find out more information. A wish that you are dreaming is having something to do with creating it for yourself in the material world with this sort of purity of spirit, right? You're in the kind of virginal stage of a project or something you're trying to envision and create. And then also there's a Queen of Swords here. So I have a feeling that this is a big departure for you from where you've been. You may be really saying goodbye to the past. So is what you're dreaming going to be? You've got powerful energy behind your wishes and what you're desiring. Is what you're dreaming going to be? And how will you know if this is your reading? You're in divine feminine energy, it looks like to me. In a very early stage of trying to envision something for yourself. That's a departure, is the sense I have. Is what you're dreaming going to be? Don't look back. A hard no. Health. And 1 week. Okay, so that's a fairly clear answer to the question. And it's interesting because what you're trying to manifest right now in terms of the energy, like you've got a very powerful vision in your mind's eye and in your third eye even, through this stargazing energy. The card here of creating something right now, it came in the reverse, and I don't typically read reversals, but as I'm new to working with these divining sticks and making my relationship with them, I can see, because the answer is a hard no. So something that you're dreaming about right now is not going to come to be, at least not within the next week. Has something to do with your health. So maybe you were hoping to run into someone and it's tied to a dream of yours, and something's going to happen where you are too sick to go to an event where you would have seen them, right? This is mundane. These are mundane material world questions. That's why I put timelines on them. That's why I tried to ground these in the 3D. So what you're dreaming is not going to be, not in, at least in the next week. What is this about? Tell me more about this. Why? What is the dream? What are you dreaming? There's going to be something to do with your health and spirituality here in the next week. Probably has something to do with the eclipse. And they often say making major decisions during eclipse season is not a good idea because so much is in flux in the astrological plane, right? And in the heavens. So this could be like just reaching you in time. Yeah. Did you see that? Like there's something about this. It's a hard no right now with this eclipse energy. I'm kind of picking up that you're being asked to look at this again after the solar eclipse in Libra. What else though? What about your health or your spiritual? What is it? What's going on? Because the dream is worth continuing towards. It's saying don't look back. Keep moving towards your dream. But at least in this week, there's not really going to be any movement. And it has something to do with your health. What is the dream about here? Yeah, I just said it might be about the eclipse, that's why you're saying don't make any moves towards the dream during the eclipse, or that it's not going to happen during this influx eclipse energy. Here's the moon, right? So it's a solar eclipse in Libra. Lunar phase is in play here. Right? A Libra right here. Adjustment. This is the Libra card in the Crowley deck. That's amazing. This is so cool. Okay, so what is it? What is the dream? How do you know if this is for you? It's not saying give up on the dream. It's saying you need to have the information that it's not going to happen right now. You might have thought something was about to happen, and this is saying not quite, not this week. So that's helpful for you to know. For some reason, you might need an immediate answer about something in terms of planning the next few days of your life. It's not saying don't give up on the dream. The dream is worth fighting for. There's 2 majors here, 3 majors. just not during this eclipse week. I know I keep saying that. What is the dream? It has to do with passion, with good news, and with the ending of something. But there's a conflict here right now that's preventing the passion and the joyful goodness to move forward. But again, it's saying don't look back. Keep moving towards it. There's something that's going to be causing interference with this Five of Swords, and it's probably the eclipse energy. It's just not a time to be trying to put down roots when there's a solar eclipse coming up in Libra. You need to wait and let the solar eclipse recalibrate in the sign of Libra so that you know that will clear the energy here. Can you give us any details about what's to come? A new world. This is what you're intending for yourself. You're trying to set something up for yourself and say goodbye to the old and close the door on the old. You're succeeding in doing it. It's happening. It's just the reason this message is coming out is so that you know to cool your heels a little bit for the next week while we're building towards this eclipse. I think the eclipse is creating changes in the environment that are outside of our control, but we need to wait and see what they're doing so that we can respond now. If you're trying to make some kind of dream come to be right now, hold on, because hello, there's an eclipse about to happen. So nothing is you can hang on to necessarily. Other than this dream is beyond the eclipse. It's a star, so it's beyond the eclipse energy of our solar system, right? When we're wishing on stars, we're typically not wishing on the sun. We're wishing on other stars in the heavens and the Milky Way. It's saying this wish is worthy. This wish is calibrating in beyond the eclipse. Let the eclipse work. You don't have to do anything. The new world is coming and you're in harmony with it if you allow the eclipse to work and know that this is not the time for you to try to make something happen this week. So that's helpful information for someone. And these seem to be working the way I was hoping. So that's really great. So again, these are something that you can make yourself. Go out, find a hazel tree. They're also known as filbert, hazelnuts, filberts. They grow plentifully where I live. They're a native tree. They can grow like a bush or like a tree. They grow very prolifically, branches and new stalks out of the ground, which is why it's easy to go and harvest a stalk out of the ground for a wand or for something like this. So you want to just write all your answers on there. Some people leave a blank one so that when you toss these, if you get a blank one, it means you're not supposed to ask now, you're supposed to ask later. I didn't do that in this one. But I did want certain things and elements to be present, like a time frame or a window, like yes, no, elements to watch for, like don't look back, right? Like this is a definitive moving forward, right? So anyways, they're fun and I'm looking forward to incorporating them. Now, I think what I'll just do is end maybe with some ungame and maybe woodland creatures too, if I feel inclined. What are some questions you can ponder while you're working through the eclipse? Since you're not to move forward on the dream, what can you do in meditation through the eclipse, right? What's some questions to ask yourself? It's saying don't look back. This is the ending of an old chapter for you. You're in harmony with that. It's saying the new world is coming and you're succeeding in creating it. So what are some questions to ponder while you meditate through this lunar eclipse progress or process? Oops. Well, let's see what this is saying. It was a little bit out of sync card there, which is interesting. Tell about a depressing time in your life. So this eclipse might be helping you to be in this Queen of Swords energy of cutting cords with the past, right? With a sorrowful time in your life and trying to create something new. What else? How do you feel about donating your organs when you die? My God. I wasn't expecting that from the endgame. But this, this speaks to the world of the material when something dies and when you're closing the door on something old. So you may be going through something literal, like you might be experiencing a death in your family, or you may have just said goodbye to an old, this is a dying to yourself. There's that spiritual expression. Or you may be dealing with a terminal illness of a loved one and making decisions, and that might have something to do with this dream that you're trying to put together. There may be something that's inspiring you. A lot of times when people are going through something like a death or a loss, it will inspire them to, out of the meaning of that potent lived experience, it might shift your course of your own life, right? Like, now I'm going to dedicate my life to serving people who've died from ALS, for example, right? So there's something to that quality here. But yeah, that's very unexpected. I wasn't expecting to get asked a question about organ donation. Any more question? Let's see here. Talk about a recent news story that has captured your interest. So just paying attention to current events, knowing that the sorrowful time in your life, you're succeeding in closing the door. You're making final decisions about the very permanent ending of something here, and it could be a literal death in your family, or it could be the death of a marriage, or the death of the old reality, right? And what are you going to harvest and take with you? Or what are the lessons that you're going to yield from this, that you're going to carry forward, right? That's a way of kind of making that a more abstract question. Organ donation, while that's a mundane world thing, that's a very abstract question. Not everybody believes in, doing something like that with your body upon death and burial, right? So those are big questions to be asking. What happens if we donate our organs? What's going to happen to our soul in the next life, right? Those are questions that have a lot of meaning for people. So I think I'll close now with a Colette Barron read. What's some final parting advice for you while you sit through this meditative time as we approach the eclipse, knowing that what you're dreaming is coming into be, just not yet. Oh yeah, there was that health question. Anything you should know? Oh, those two just fell out. I hope that's not too many. No, it's just too good. Yin energy, so feminine energy. This is a time for you to be receptive. And in fact, you could cause harm if you try to force active things at a time where you're meant to be in stillness, right? Like if you're trying to heal a wound, you don't want to force the wound to be out there playing on the sports field, right? You want to keep it elevated and rest it. So that's what this is saying through this eclipse energy. You don't want to be forcing anything. You want to be cutting cords and receiving the new, letting this energy work in the heavens. It's not riding on you. And what is the other one here? Treasure Island in the reverse. I don't remember what this card means in the reverse. It's card number 9. Poverty consciousness and a sense of not enough cast a shadow on your path. These ideas and core beliefs come with a high cost. Do you really want to proclaim yourself a victim of disappointment and failed expectations? This is tapping into that depression card. So these are the lingering things that you're clearing out of your reality. You might be saying goodbye to old patterns, old past illnesses even, and going into remission, right? Like maybe you thought you had intractable depression and you started realizing, actually, what's that saying? Actually, I just realized I was surrounded with assholes, right? Or something like that. It could be that, right? You're really saying goodbye to the old, and it means really going deep and looking inside. And this is a perfect time for that with an eclipse. So it may not be easy or light energy during this week. It's a hard no for the dream to come into being this week, but it's a time for you to clear away anything that conflicts with any old obstacles, any old ideologies that don't fit, including perceiving yourself to be a victim of disappointment. Are you avoiding success because you will grow so tall that others will want to cut you down, right? Like, are you worried about saying goodbye to relationships that, while not good for you, they're familiar and comfortable? Are you caught in a fear that you will lose what you have acquired, so you hold on so tight that you miss the opportunities to expand? Yeah, this is where you have to let go of the dream. Don't cling to the dream too tightly and try to control things right now because it's an eclipse. You need to release the dream and trust the universe to harmonize with what you're doing to alchemize your reality. You are challenged to change the way you see the world and move from a perception of limitation to a perception of abundance. Take a risk, for you have nothing to lose except your confinement in a prison of your own making. Open the door and find the abundance waiting for you to claim it. This, I love it. That's a perfect way to end this. It's saying this is happening. You've done the work successfully to create this shift in your life. It's just not going to happen this week, which might be something you need to hear because you're so on fire for it. You've been investing a ton of your spiritual energy into making it into being. And you have this youthful, optimistic energy right now to make it happen. And that's that eclipse ushering in the new energy that you need. But it's saying you're still clearing out some old conflicting blockages, right? Maybe even in your chakra system or something. Or that the world is coming into alignment with your vision. So you just need to sit and meditate through the next week. So thank you much for being here, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll be using these too in future layouts. Oh, and also I've got a new black amethyst galaxy portal stone here that I'll be doing scrying with. So that's also really exciting. That'll be coming up on the Obsidian Mirror podcast. So I can't stand up. My foot fell asleep. Oof, man, I really need to get a different chair. It's gotten rough with that. Thank you.